Hello. Good morning. Oh, it's morning. I don't know how good it is. There, here we go. And shiver burr, it's cold in beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. And I didn't sleep well last night. Had trouble getting to sleep. Back pain, neck pain. And I had to put Smoky Kitty in timeout. She kept running around, jumping on me and the other cats. So she had to stay in the crate so the rest of us could have some peace and quiet. Hi, Patches, and Tora are being good kitties. Here, let's say hello to the kitty cats. Good morning, Tora. And Patches. Yes. Tora's the main cat around here. There's 3C, if I can get her on camera. A lot of glare from the sunshine in the window. Okay. And Patches, who just loves to sleep on mommy's bed. That would be my bed. Uh, so I'm like dragging and cold and glad to be alive and awake, I guess. Got my coffee, tea, and water. um, the other day, some cat treats arrived. I don't recall ordering them, so they might have been a gift, probably from Freeman, but there was no gift card in it, so I don't know. Maybe I ordered them and forgot, but I don't think so. Anyway, yeah, I'm having a battle of words and wits with the homeowner's insurance. I find it hard to blame them. It's so crazy in California. All right, what is that? Oh, that's the coffee mug in the camera. Okay. But they don't want to renew my home insurance. Well, so I tried calling them, emailing them, and writing to them, and crickets. My agent did not respond until I sent a letter to the Department of Insurance for California. You see, they have to have a good reason to cancel your insurance or refuse to renew it. Tora, get off my stuff! I fed you. Go eat your cat food. Oh, cats. You know better than that. She starts pawing at everything on my desk and knocking it on the floor. I gave you treats already. 3 times. Leave me alone. Okay, so anyway, yeah, my house is on a mountain, okay? But I'm in town, less than a mile from the fire station, on a straight, flat road, and my lot is flat. Uh, It takes the fire department less than 5 minutes to get here after you call. The road is paved. I'm not in the forest, I'm in town. And they sent me their ratings saying that my road has limited access and it's hard to get here if there's a fire. Baloney. And they said my house was on a slope. No, it isn't. I'm sure it isn't perfectly level. No place is. But I walk all over my yard and I don't even notice it's flat. It's not on a slope or a hill. So anyway, but I had to write to the Department of Insurance just to get my insurance agent to tell me why they were not renewing my home insurance. And the thing is, if I have to get a new policy with all the various insurance companies leaving California, my premiums will at least double and probably triple. I'm barely hanging on as it is. Okay, where'd I put that? Here it is. Here. Hi, Jorge. Hi, Wita. Any advice for anxiety? Tea. Herbal tea, and green tea, any tea. I like Constant Comment, but if you go to almost any place now, you can buy tea for quiet time or whatever. They have little titles that kind of tell you what they're for. And just the process of making your tea, steeping it and all that. If you use cream and sugar, there's that. Getting stirred in. Just the process of getting your tea ready and smelling the aroma can be awesome for anxiety. Tora, quit. I fed you and I gave you treats. Quit. Bad cat. Bad cat. Oh, all cats are bad. They're just made that way. Anxiety. I'm a great believer in chocolate. Whatever your favorite chocolate is. I actually know now, though, 2 people who are allergic to chocolate. Weird. Peppermint, any kind of mint, especially peppermint. At the moment, I have junior mints. And I have these Altoids, which are also mint. These are wintergreen, and of course, junior mints are peppermint. The stuff the doctor gave me for anxiety a few years ago, like pre-COVID, the pills really didn't do anything for me. Oh well, different people react differently. If you have an herbalist or even a specialty shop with like organics and stuff, they can probably give you better advice than I can. Oh, and there's meditation and prayer. I've found that prayer is most effective not when I'm asking God for something, but when I'm thanking God. Oh, well, it's a morning and I'm not really with it. Didn't get much sleep, back pain and neck pain. Hi, Etsy Quintia. Oh, it's morning. I had the food stamp battle again. Their computer keeps withholding my food stamps, and they aren't very much to begin with, but they help. So yesterday, I got to go get groceries. They're supposed to come in on the 5th, and I got them around the 20th. After, well, I wrote to them, heard nothing. The website wouldn't allow me to send a message, and it wasn't helpful. So I kept calling, and their service kept saying the queue is full and hanging up. Finally, got into the queue, and after about an hour, talked to a human and got my food stamps. We call them EBT, electronic something. Electronic benefit. I don't know what T stands for. This is California. They're weird. I'm California born and raised. Never managed to escape, and I can't afford to leave. If I sold my house, I could not rent a room for what this house costs me. And there's 5 cats that would no longer have a home. Right, Patches? Hi, sweetie. You too, Tora. Anyway, first last night when I was trying to get to sleep, Smoky Kitty kept running around like a mad thing, jumping on the other cats and jumping on me. So I put her in timeout in the crate. But I still couldn't sleep, neck pain and back pain. And of course, my nerves were a little rattled from having a cat running around like a mad thing and jumping on everybody. I can't take pain pills, they make me vomit. I had to quit taking muscle relaxants. They contribute to urinary incontinence. I don't want to pee in my pants. I'd rather have back pain. Oh, Lord. I fed you guys. I haven't opened a can yet. Let's give the cats a can of cat food. Where'd I put it? Where's the kitty food? All right. Oh, interesting. Kitty. Oh, here you go, sweetie. Okay. Most of the cats are happy with a can of Friskies. I have plenty of food now. Plenty of cat food. Little low on cat litter, so I'll order some from Chewy. I thought I had problems with FedEx. At least this time they put my box of cat supplies inside the gate, but it was raining, and the cardboard box was not in a plastic bag like the nice guys at United Parcel do for me. Tora, get out of my stuff. Thank you. Bad cat. It was raining heavily, and the box was 20 feet from my door, and it was heavy and wet. And I had to stand outside in the rain and cut the box open and bring in the cat food one package, one item at a time. I was thoroughly soaked and cold. And of course, the cardboard box was totally ruined. I could have used it to pack things up, which I'm doing a lot of that lately to get things out of my house and into the shed. Well, anyway, I complained, and the Chewy representative made all kinds of excuses about not bringing the box to my door. But she did at least agree it should have been in a plastic bag to keep the rain off of it. Well, I thought I had a problem. There's a guy on Quora. No, he's on YouTube. Well, I think he's on both. It's all over the internet, probably. He's on South something Avenue, and FedEx keeps taking his packages to North whatever his street is. If he gets a notification that his package has arrived, he has to go several blocks down the street to take his package from the apartment building where they left it. And sometimes it simply disappears. Probably someone in the apartment building takes it and keeps it. And this has been going on for over a year, and FedEx refuses to fix the problem. They say they can't. Hi, Lucas. Oh, there's no rain and no snow and no fog. It's sunny, but I'm telling you, it's freezing cold today. Let me see what the computer says. The computer's a liar. It says 43. There's no way it's 43. It's been 30 degrees all night. Yeah, my phone says 35. And it'll warm up to 50 today. That's downright warm, balmy, tropical. Actually, not in Fahrenheit. It's still chilly, but not as bad, as long as there isn't a lot of wind. Yes, Patches, you're a cute kitty cat. You are. Okay. So I don't remember what I was going to talk about today because I haven't had much sleep. I slept, I guess from 11 p.m. to midnight, maybe 10 to midnight, so about 2 hours. Woke up, couldn't get back to sleep, and then from about 4 a.m. to 7, I got 2 or 3 hours sleep. It isn't enough, and it was interrupted. But I got a few things done, sort of. Listen to news and stuff and some cooking shows. Uh, Apparently, Donald Trump has no problem putting up a $400 million bond so he can appeal the New York verdict in which they claim that he defrauded the bank, even though the bank says no, he didn't. We're fine. We're happy. We made money. Okay. So now many truckers are refusing to make deliveries to New York City, and quite a few companies are not selling their products in New York City. They're afraid that they're next. Smokey! Hang on. Knock it off, Smokey. Where is that thing? Where is it? Where'd I put the squirt bottle, guys? Smokey, quit. I need the squirt bottle. There, here. You quit wrestling with my kitties. You're an interloper. You're adopted, okay? Like all my cats, Smokey, you're adopted. Quit feeding up 2 and 3C. Silly cat. I'm in a bad mood. Lack of sleep and rotten cats. Anyway, we'll see. The truckers claim their boycott of New York City is only for 1 week. I told you to quit that, didn't I? Stop it, Smokey. You want to go in timeout again? She spent the night in the crate so the rest of us could get a little bit of sleep. Yeah, you tell him, Tora. That's a good kitty. Anyway, cats. Cats are just such wonderful creatures. Here's your treats, Tora. Here's some treats for Tutu and Cece. Smokey, if you want treats, you have to be a good girl. Hang on, Patches. Oh, Patches still, her legs don't work right, her hind legs, but she actually gets around pretty well. Let's see what else is happening. Oh, I'm tired of egg fried rice and green curry and red curry, but I like Uncle Roger, and he doesn't review, other cuisines. There's a dish called pho, pho, pho. There's butter chicken. They sound more interesting. And I'm going through the Italian chefs like Vincenzo's Plate and oh, what's his name? It's a nickname, not a name. I can't remember. Oh, and there's Chef James something. I think he's English or an American in England. And then there's the guy who's in Spain, also an American. What's his name? Anyway, I've been branching out from the ones I've listened to forever, like Tasting History, Chef Jean Pierre, and Glenn and Friends Cooking. Glenn's up in Canada. I even watch his cocktail videos, even though I don't drink. But I'm tempted to go to the local saloon. It's the Stockade is made to look like an old-fashioned saloon. They serve food and they have a bar. And their food is excellent. But I'm tempted to just start going there maybe once a week and trying some kind of cocktail that I've never tasted before. I've never had anything with gin. Mom told me back in the dark ages that a martini was gin and vermouth, but all the cocktail recipes I've seen say that a martini is made with vodka. So I'm curious, vodka and gin or was it vodka and vermouth? Apparently, gin and vermouth is called a Gibson. Are you guys here? I'm not seeing anyone in any chatting. Maybe you're as messed up this morning as I am. Maybe your computer. Oh, Wit is just listening. Thank you. Well, I've had so many problems with my feed cutting off. Last week it quit on me twice. Let me check the battery on this thing. Oh, we're good so far. Well, last week it was my fault. I forgot to put the modem on the charger and it ran out of battery. But the second time, I had it plugged into the charger, but Smokey, in all her running around, bad cat, had knocked the plug-in end of the charger so that it wasn't plugged in anymore to the electricity. So my modem ran out of power again. Oh, Lord. Cat. Gotta love them, but I don't know why. I guess they're warm, furry, and soft. And purring is awesome. If you really got anxiety, Jorge, get a cat that purrs. Oh, I bought a cat brush because I couldn't find my cat grooming tools. More than 3 years of searching after some helpful people thought it was a good idea to make sure nothing I own was where I put it. Can't find the cat grooming supplies. So I bought a brush and and be done. You're never finished. She loves the brush. Let me get it. Hi there, Tutu. Bye there, Tutu. Okay. I wasn't sure it being wires that it might not be too fur from the brush. But what really amused me, it was reading the instructions on the back of this. Instructions. Obviously not written by a native speaker of English. Please read all instructions carefully before using this tool. Black screen? Oh, sorry, guys. I don't know how that happened. Maybe something was in front of the camera. Okay, instructions for a cat brush. Using the product can achieve the best results. Does not apply to other places outside pets. Pets should not be used when there is a wound. Along the direction of hair growth with an F, using a pet can promote hair growth. This product must not pull the weight up or down. Keep out of the reach of children. That one's okay. Usage after removing the packaging for pet use. And product description, pets for carding wool body parts. You do card wool, it comes from sheep. After you shear the sheep, you card the wool it's like combing it to get all the fibers straight. And suitable for short-haired and long-haired pet undercoat comb. Anyway, I found these instructions amusing. You use a pet on the brush, not the brush on the pet. Okay. No, I'm still haggling with my home insurance, Gigi. Hi, Cindy. All right. Let's see. Who can hear me? Well, last time I couldn't hear a stream. My speakers were disconnected. And not loud enough? Well, mine's turned all the way to 100%. Gigi says for anxiety, you gotta walk it off, work it off, sometimes read it off or write it off. Oh, another thing I do for anxiety is make consciously take slow, deep breaths. You take a deep breath and hold it and let it out slowly. Uh, yeah. Okay. Um, look for the sound icon and turn it up. The icon looks like, what does it look like? A microphone, I think, at the bottom of the YouTube image. Sometimes YouTube resets your sound. Oh, it looks like a horn. Ew, cat hair all over everything I own. Even my food. Cat hair. Look. I'm gonna have to do some major vacuuming and sweeping and stuff like that. But the main thing I have to do is have a warm enough day to have the doors and windows open to clear up the air in this house. YouTube hates me. Yeah, I'm still going back and forth with home insurance. They won't talk to me unless I write to the State Department of Insurance. Then they have to respond. But let's see. When they just said they were not renewing, they didn't give a real reason. They described conditions that might exist on some parts of this mountain, but not here. I'm not in the forest. Sorry, I do this every morning. It's really bad this morning because it's cold. Anyway, the reason was basically fire hazards when you live on a mountain road in the forest, blah, blah, blah. Limited access, but they weren't, it was very general and wrong. So after I wrote to the Department of Insurance, they sent me their rating. They said, I have light to medium fuels, things that could burn in a fire. I disputed that because my plants are cultivated. They aren't wild. You know, I don't have underbrush and I don't have a lot of trees like in the forest. I have some trees like my apple tree and two oak trees and a cedar, but they are not crowded or anything like in the forest. But the other two things are even worse. They said my lot has a moderate slope, 6 to 20 degrees of slope. Well, my lot is flat and almost level. It doesn't even have 1 degree of slope, so they need to reduce that rating. The worst one is access. Score of 0 to 5, with 5 representing the most restricted access, and they rated it 3. They don't even list 4, by the way. 3 is limited access. 1 would be somewhat limited access. Well, my house is a 0. There are no access problems. When I broke my back about a year ago, it took the fire department less than 5 minutes to get here after I called. Not in the forest, and it's easy to use. In fact, we get all kinds of traffic because people driving through town use my street as a detour when the main road has a lot of traffic. So that should be like a 0. No limits. Where did I put it? I have too many papers under the mouse pad. Yeah, 0. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they have 0, 1, 3, 5. They don't list 2 and 4. Well, mine should be a 0, not a 3. It is not limited access. Not even close. I've had worse service down the hill in cities in the flatland. And my street is not narrow either. It's wide enough for fire engines and the ambulance and so forth. Now, because of regulations, when you call for assistance, they have to send 2 vehicles. So it's usually the ambulance and the fire truck. And my fence is set back from the road, so you can park outside my fence. It's a chain link fence, by the way. You can park on my property outside the fence, and there's plenty of room for a fire truck. And an ambulance, really. The driveway is 10 or 12 feet deep and 45 feet wide. So I sent a letter to my insurance agent with a copy to the Department of Insurance and got this. So yesterday I mailed a second letter disputing their ratings. The only patch of forest anywhere near here is about a mile away, and it's actually occupied by a company that provides camping for children. So once again, it is not wild land, it's tended. Ah, Lord. Well, at least Patches got some sleep. She's sleeping again. They say cats sleep 18 hours a day and dogs sleep 16 hours a day. Why don't they want to sleep when I'm sleeping? Hi, Jason. I've been whining, fussing, and complaining all this time. 45 minutes of me griping and fussing and using the squirt bottle on Smoky Kitty. You know, I don't have a squirt gun, so I have this squirt bottle full of water. Mm. Smokey was in timeout all night in the crate. Yeah, Wita Kave is Jason. His daughter changed his display name. Um, I don't know. Maybe that's a funny way of spelling coffee. Cave. Who knows? If it's German or something similar, a similar language, it could be pronounced cafe. Anyway, haggling with home insurance because if they're allowed to cancel my policy by not renewing it, this being California, my premiums with a new company will be at least double and probably triple. Oh, there goes my throat again. Oh, ah, yes, kitties. Oh, sweeties. Oh, sweetie's so cute. I wish she'd let me hold her and pet her and love her, but she doesn't trust humans. She thinks humans are an evil necessity. All we're good for is opening cans of cat food. Ah. Ah. So anyway, oh, I scared myself because, you know, I have an ulcer, a stomach ulcer. I'm supposed to watch if it bleeds excessively. The sign I'll get will be black stools that smell like metal. You know, in the toilet. Well, they were coming out black, but they didn't smell. And I finally figured out it's because I've been using Pepto Bismol, the antacid sold as Pepsid and several other brand names, is the subject of a class action lawsuit for causing something horrible, some health problem. I forgot what. So I use the pink stuff. I've always preferred it anyway. Well, it turns your stools black. But hey, it works. I always get the mint flavor. They offer a cherry flavor, but it tastes nasty. It's fake flavoring. Peppermint is a real mint, grows in my garden. Actually, spearmint does better in my garden. The peppermint just doesn't survive the winter. So I guess I'll have to grow the peppermint inside in the house. Etsequentia just had decaf. Doesn't seem to have any different effect on you. Enough that it's hot, piping hot liquid that smells like coffee. Well, I don't know. Depending on how much coffee you drink, it won't necessarily cause anxiety. It might make you jittery, but a cup of coffee in the morning really gets my day going. And I've been drinking coffee for decades, so I can have a cup of coffee at bedtime and still fall asleep. But not last night. First, Smokey decided that she was a maniac and just had to run around jumping on other cats and on me. So I put her in timeout in the crate, and then I couldn't sleep because my back hurt and my neck hurt. And it's been cold, really cold, below freezing overnight again. I don't even want to open my heating bill. Well, Etsequentia says it's recommended not to drink coffee until about 2 hours after you wake up. Well, I'm sorry. The first thing I do in the morning after feeding the cats is make a cup of instant coffee. If I were not being lazy, I have real coffee and a coffee maker. That's how I used to wake up in the morning instead of an alarm clock. Well, I would set I had to get up at 6 in the morning. I was teaching morning classes at the college. I'd set the coffee maker for 8 o'clock to make coffee, and I would set the alarm clock for 5 minutes after 8. And the coffee maker always woke me up. It made that slurping sound, and then the room filled with the smell of freshly made coffee. And I would turn off the alarm clock because I didn't need it. So I'll have to start doing that. I have a coffee maker. I could do that. I should do that. Oh, and a tip, coffee beans will keep a long, long time. If your coffee is already ground, it'll go stale a lot faster. So I have a little coffee grinder thingy. You just put in the beans and push the cap down, and it makes just the right amount for one pot of 6 cups of coffee. And by the way, those are not 6-ounce cups. I mean, they're not 8-ounce cups, but they're 6-ounce cups. It's cups of coffee, not cups, as in measuring cups. Anyway, Yeah, I should do that. Really should. And Sequentia says America is one nation united under coffee, like the UK is one nation united under tea. Yeah, and they got their tea from India and China. It isn't like a long history of tea in England. But they were apparently, of all the colonies Britain had, India was the most important. And I forget which prime minister it was, but at a certain point, late 1800s or early 1900s, they made it their goal for India to become independent, no longer a colony. And that's why Mahatma Gandhi was murdered. He allowed the partition in which Pakistan, which used to be northern India, became an independent nation from India, and some radical extremists were unhappy about that. There's still skirmishes along the border between Pakistan and India. They are not official, they are not government sponsored things, although the governments have to get involved. Extremists on both sides. Oh well. There's conflict all over the world right now. And you hear about Ukraine, Taiwan, Israel, but um, there's much more than that all over the globe. I'm trying to remember the name of that country. It's north of Ethiopia. Some say it isn't a real country, but they have a lot of pirates. They're on Africa's east coast. They attack merchant ships. Somalia, yeah, they have such poverty there. And the U.S. Navy has been working to stop piracy on I guess that would be the Indian Ocean. There's stuff going on in South America, especially where the cartels are very powerful. There's Nigeria. Uh, it's named for the French word for black, Niger. They're basically, the people are kicking France out. They were a French colony at one time. The Congo was a Belgian colony. Much of North Africa was French territory. But Egypt, of course, was a British colony. And here we are, the United States of America, supposedly totally against colonialism, against empire. Well, we had to clean up the mess that France left in Vietnam when they pulled out. I'm not sure whose mess Korea was. I suppose you could blame Japan, the World War II Japan, but not entirely. I'd say England had a lot to do with it, and the United States. We've been cleaning up England's problems in the Middle East, Spain's problems in South and Central America. Who was the idiot who gave away the Panama Canal? It's one thing to allow Panama to have the canal that Teddy Roosevelt built, that many Americans died building from malaria and other diseases in the tropical muck. But they basically sold it to China. Settle down, Tora. We're terribly afraid of Russia, but China is our friend? What about all the Uyghurs doing slave labor for Bill Gates and others? In China, religion is illegal, and the Uyghurs are Muslim. So they're put in prison, they're forced to work. They're in various ways preventing from getting married and having children. Tora, don't bother me. I'm busy. I'm in no mood for cats today. Didn't get enough sleep. By the way, California was never part of Mexico. The Mexican army occupied Alto California. Is it Alto or Alta? Alta California. In other words, north of Baja, for about 20 years before our Civil War. The Californios, mostly of Spanish descent, finally kicked them out and then said, "Let's join the United States. Their army will help us keep out those Mexican soldiers who were suppressing us, harassing us, and taking all our money and goods." And the deal was settled when someone discovered gold. There's gold in them thar hills. Hontora, be nice. But occupying a separate nation, and California was a republic, still is. Occupying it for 20 years does not make it yours. It makes you a stinking invader and, empire builder and colonial whatever. In fact, Mexico should give Baja back to California. We let them keep it because it's kind of a desert, but my gosh, Rosarita Beach and Cabo San Lucas. Baja should be a wealthy tourist destination, but the Mexican government, and not just their government, but also the gangs, the cartels, are so corrupt, they basically keep all the ordinary people poor. And talk about racist, the darker your skin, the deeper your poverty in Mexico. There are still children in Tijuana where maybe the family has 2 or 3 children, but only one pair of shoes. So the children take turns going to school because you have to wear shoes at school. So, like on Monday and Tuesday, one child wears the shoes and goes to school. Wednesday and Thursday, a different child wears the same shoes and goes to school, and so forth. Smokey, get off me. I don't want you on my lap. You're a pest. Smokey doesn't sit on your lap. She tap dances on your lap and never quits. And Tora, you're just too big, heavy, and pokey paws. Why do cats go straight for my bladder when they want to sit on my lap? Don't they know that forces me to get up? And then they have no lap to sit on? There are parts of the Southwest that did belong to Mexico, like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. But we won the war and we still paid Mexico. We bought all this land from them. And that's about the time that Utah became a state because they were terrified of the Mexican army under that brutal dictator Santa Anna. Santa Anna got his own troops to go into battle by putting the cannon behind them. And it was either you charge the enemy or we'll mow you down with our own cannon. That's what happened at the Alamo. They did not want to attack a bunch of women and children. There were a few men, but it was basically families. So Santa Anna said, okay, you kill them or I kill you. What's the cat up to now? Well, Mexico is not such a terrible place now. Yes, said Sequentia, a pioneer in motivating the troops. Well, you know what the English did? They put the archers behind the infantry. But they didn't have cannon in the Middle Ages. The Romans did something similar. But, in the 1800s in North America, warfare had changed. No longer did the two sides line up on the battlefield, holding their shields and clashing. There were a lot more sneak attacks and, in the American Revolution, which was really a civil war, Englishmen against England in an English colony. The Scots-Irish were among the best soldiers because they used the tactics that the Native Americans used. They didn't line up and march. They'd hide behind a big rock or up in a tree and ambush the British troops that were marching down the road. Oh, Gigi, I'm glad the video and sound are good. I'm an hour and 10 in, so I need to check the modem for battery. Let's see. So it doesn't run too low. The darn thing doesn't really warn me when it's low on power. It might flash something on the screen, but I'm not looking at the screen on the modem. I'm looking at the computer, and the modem does not beep. It just lets the battery run down to zero without telling me. Okay. Hi, Patches. Let's say hi to Patches again. There she is. Such a pretty kitty. She's cute. Uh, Good girl. She still hobbles around. Her hind legs are not working properly. But she gets around pretty well. She gets up and down from Mommy's recliner chair all by herself. Hi, Tora. Say hi to your adoring fans. Smokey's being a pest. Oh, of course, before I could point the camera at Smokey, she walked away behind the screen. Let's see. Where'd you go? I saw her. Oh, she moved again. Now she's in the window where the glare from the sunlight washes out the image. Tora's a good kitty. Yes, she is. Yeah, scritch that kitty cat. I gave you treats. Let me see what else I got. I had an adventure yesterday. I don't know how I survived it, but I managed to, with help and a ride, I managed to get groceries and vitamins and a new back brace because the old one has so much cat hair on the Velcro that it doesn't work very well. Cat treats. Yes, kitties. Tora and Patches, because they're special. Okay, Smokey. Let's see if I can get the picture now. There's Smokey. There's Tutu. Okay, I gotta put the camera down. 3C's down on the floor. Tutu. Treats for Tutu. Treats for 3C. Couple more for Smokey. Tora, you didn't eat your treats. Oh, she doesn't want them over there. She wants her treats over here. She isn't spoiled, just well fed. There, here you go, Patches. I hope Tora is a happy cat. I would give Sweetie treats, but she won't come out of her hiding place to get them. Gotta move things around now that Tora's eating off my desk. Do I try using the heating pad for my aches? I'm sitting on the heating pad right now. I have an electric blanket. Move, Tora. It helps. Don't climb on my desk. I'm using it. Okay? Tora, quit. You had your treats. You're going to end up fat and diabetic if you don't knock off the treats. Patches and Tora and Tutu and 3C and Smokey. They're all gathered around because there were cat treats. I forgot to tell my phone to do not disturb. There, here. Anything urgent? Not really. Just something I'm curious about. Oh, a former ePinions member. There was a website called ePinions that would share advertising revenue with us for posting, kind of like a blog. We could do product reviews, or we could review movies and TV shows or books, or we could just generally chat about whatever, life, love, and, well, family. And then they quit paying, and I think they're all gone. I haven't looked for them lately, but we're all gone. So we have a Facebook group, former ePinions members. Oh, Alex is writing a novel and he's making good progress. All right. Good man. Tora, don't pester me. I'm tired. I didn't get any sleep last night, partly because of Smokey. No, I don't sleep with the heating pad because it turns itself off after 30 minutes. It's a safety feature. So I plug in the electric blanket. But if I set it too warm, it wakes me up because I'm sweating. And if I don't set it warm enough, I wake up because I got cold. Well, no wonder the cats like to sleep on Mommy's bed. It's a giant heating pad. The electric blanket. Last night, Tutu and Patches, you know your name, don't you? Such a pretty girl. They kept me warm on one side. They cuddled with each other on one side and kept me warm on that side. Isn't that right, kitties? I think Patches must be the runt of the litter. Her sisters weigh twice as much as she does. Oh well. What else is going on in the world? Mayhem everywhere. Why do we have to get involved in foreign wars? Why isn't Eastern Europe helping Ukraine? Do they know something we don't know? I mean, Poland and Romania are like border countries. I think there might be another country between Romania and Ukraine. And I'm tired of people saying it isn't the Ukraine. That implies that it isn't an independent country. Well, how about the United States and the United Kingdom? We are not saying we aren't independent nations. It's just the name of the country where we live. All right, let's see. Map, Romania, Ukraine, Crimea. That ought to do it. Political map of Europe. Now, Romania is on the border with Ukraine on the Black Sea. And you see, the problem is, well, Russia used to have a warm water port in Romania and a warm water port in Crimea. It's called Sevastopol. There's a town in California named after it, Sevastopol. Well, Romania joined NATO and kind of locked Russia out of that warm water port on the Black Sea. So all they had left was Crimea and the port of Sevastopol. Russia's east coast on the Pacific Ocean, yeah, they have ports there and harbors, but they freeze over in the winter. No bueno. They have to lift ships out of the water so they don't get crushed by the ice. They can't go anywhere. Ships don't sail on ice. They need a warm water port, and that is Sevastopol in Crimea, since they no longer have their port in Romania. And when Gorbachev agreed to, take down the Berlin Wall and break up the Soviet Union, we promised that we would not expand NATO into Eastern Europe. Well, guess what? We did. Poland is in Eastern Europe and in NATO. Romania is in Eastern Europe and in NATO. And Ukraine was trying to join NATO. And that's right on Russia's doorstep. And Ukraine was threatening Crimea. And yes, under the Soviet Union, Crimea was given to Ukraine. I forget which leader did that. Might have been Gorbachev, might have been someone else. But Russia took back Crimea because they need their warm water port for their navy and for their merchant ships. Lord. And Ukraine was kind of massing troops on the border between Ukraine and Crimea. So it isn't as simple as imperialist fascist dictator Putin, although he is all that. It's never that simple. Yeah. Oh, and I'm never voting for what's her name? The one who's still running in the Republican primaries. Mitt Romney's niece. She's a warmonger. And she's made millions investing in the military arms manufacturers. Oh, Gigi likes Mylanta. I have some just in case, but I really like Pepto Bismol. I have to be careful because the actual problem for me is too little stomach acid. But it comes up when I eat because there is not enough acid in my stomach to close the valve that stops acid from coming up my throat. So I take a supplement, especially if I'm eating meat, uh, betaine HCl plus pepsin. I take a couple bites of food and then one of these capsules. It increases my stomach acid, which closes the valve. So food can still go down, but acid cannot come up. I had to let Smokey know that it is not cool to be running around and jumping on Patches and other kitties. Oh, there's Sweetie. I don't think I can get her on camera here. Yes, they're good kitty cats. Did you guys eat all of your canned food? I think you did. Yeah, you still got kibble. Dang. The cigarette keeps going out. Okay, that's better. A nice puff of smoke. I don't suck it into my lungs. I'm sure that I breathe in smoke when I have a cigarette going, but I just puff on it in my mouth and out again. But sometimes, even after I've eaten and I'm done and I've had the pill, I still get some acid reflux. Or sometimes it creeps up on me a couple hours after I've eaten. So then I get out the Pepto Bismol to soothe my throat. It coats the walls of the throat and kind of neutralizes the acid. Man, I wish I'd had more sleep last night. Mm. Yes, dear. Eventually this afternoon, I'll have to open the DOOR and allow the cats to go OUT. They know what that means, so I don't dare say it out loud. I rarely get heartburn. I just get a really burning throat. Not just at the top, but all the way down. Yes, Tora, you're cute, but you've had plenty to eat. I guess I should get up and open one more can since there's 5 cats, so one can of food isn't necessarily enough, is it? Okay, let's go open a can for you guys. Pretty kitty, you're the cat. You stupid cat. Why can't you leave your food in the dish? It belongs. Ah. Hi, Tutu. Hi, Smokey. Hi, sweetie. Ah, coffee making skills. Well, I don't want to show you my kitchen right now. It's a disaster. Um, well, my phone won't go live on YouTube. I don't know why. And my computer is a desktop. I can't drag it out to the kitchen. I will fire up the laptop that Freeman gave me. Maybe I can find time for that today, but every time I set aside a time to do something, life gets in the way. I get required to do something else, like sit on the phone on hold for an hour waiting for a government bureaucrat to talk to me, or um, responding to the insurance company that doesn't want to renew my home insurance. And so on and so forth. My kitchen is a wreck because of the clogged drain in the kitchen sink. I think I've got it cleared now. I'm not sure. But as you can imagine, a lot of dishes and pots and pans have piled up. And they're waiting for me to wash them all. And I haven't even mopped the floor because I have to use a bucket and keep emptying it outside, seeing as how the kitchen drain wasn't working. And when you've got a bad back and you carry even 1 gallon of water around, it hurts. I need 1,000 subscribers. Oh, is that why I can't go live from a cell phone? Well, okay. Whatever. YouTube is just a place to talk to all of you. Um, so I don't mind having to record things when I use my phone. The problem with the laptop is that my kitchen is so tiny that I don't know where I would put the laptop computer in the kitchen. I really need some good dry weather. Warm is good, dry is absolutely necessary. So I can clear out all the things in my house that I had to drag in because I couldn't leave them outside in the rain and the snow. Apparently, we have one more whopper of a storm coming, probably starting on Sunday, but maybe not till Monday. But it's a whopper, and we're already soaking wet everywhere. Our lakes are full, our streams and creeks are full. I don't think we have rivers on the mountain. I could be mistaken. Oh well. Anyway, at least there's no fire danger. I'm just really annoyed with my stupid homeowner's insurance. They claim that I have light to medium fuels that, that would burn in a fire, like plants. Zero would be no fuel. I'm not going that far, but it should be number one, small light fuels. And then they say I have a moderate slope. My lot is flat. Yeah, there is a tiny bit of like downhill, but it's so small. I don't think it's even 1%. It's just that nobody with a bulldozer preparing a lot to build a house is going to go out with a level and make sure everything's absolutely level. So that should, instead of 2, it should be 1, mild, 0 to 5%. But the worst one, access. They don't even list all the numbers. They start with 0, and then they go 1, 3, 5. They don't list 2 and 4. Well, my lot is a 0, no access problems. Fire trucks and ambulances get here in less than 5 minutes. The road is flat, straight, paved, and wide enough. And they rated it a 3, which is limited access. Baloney. So I'm ticked off and annoyed. But I have bacon in my fridge because I got to get groceries yesterday. And coffee and bacon will cure anything that ails you. I feel sorry for vegans. Vegetarians, not so much, although I still think they're missing out. And yes, it is sad that an animal has to die so we can eat. But we really need to eat meat. And insects are not going to work. And besides, most vegans and vegetarians won't eat bugs either. Insects can destroy your health. They're not meant for human consumption. There are some tribal people in remote locations who will eat bugs. Not because they want to, but because they have to. Hello, Freeman. Welcome in. I received some cat treats a few days ago. I don't remember ordering them, so perhaps they came from you. Although there was not a gift note in the package. Hiya, as Uncle Roger would say. What's the other one he says? I haven't practiced it enough. Come here, Smokey. Say hi. Yeah, you're an asshole. You see what I mean? She doesn't sit on my lap. She squirms and wiggles and claws. But she loves to be petted and brushed. Once you start, she won't let you stop. No, Freeman, it's the stupid homeowners insurance. All the insurance companies really want to leave California. But since car insurance is still profitable, they just want to leave the home insurance market. Yeah. Oh, the craziest thing I ever saw was an activist against hunting. Why do you have to go out and hunt a deer? Can't you buy meat at the store where no animals are harmed? Where does she think a steak or a roast or a pork chop comes from? It just magically appears in the store? Yeah, you can survive on bugs, but they are really bad for your health in many ways, crickets especially. Now, lizards and such can eat frogs, and lizards and some other critters can eat crickets. They like them, they're tasty treats. But for humans, they contain certain chemicals that cannot be removed and that really cause health problems in humans. Yes, Freeman sent me the kitty treats. Thank you, Freeman. I ate an ant once. I was like 3 or 4 years old and I was curious because someone said they had a lot of acid in them. They do. And yet in France, I don't know whether they still do that, but they used to have chocolate ants. They'd coat actual ants in chocolate as a treat. No, thank you. But the only bug I ever ate on purpose was an ant. And I was very young and just curious. Freeman didn't get any of his goals done. Getting ready for a meeting on Monday. Every time I make plans, oh, Freeman, I haven't slept well either. Every time I make plans, something happens to abort my plans. Darn cigarettes won't stay lit. Well, I don't think I got such a good deal on batteries at the dollar store. I got a pack of 8 for something like $2, but only 2 of them work. Little tiny AAA batteries. I'm telling you. Okay, at this time, as of last year, my home insurance was $600 a year. I've asked around with experts and so forth, and they say I'll be lucky if it's under $2,000 a year. Yeah, even if you cook the bugs, they're still bugs. And you can't make them a staple of your diet unless you like being sick all the time. Oh, Witta says dollar store batteries tend to leak faster too. We'll find out. No, I think I'll cook the pork chops and the bacon and the chicken liver. And you can have the bugs. I did get a couple game hens. Uh, they come in a pack of 2, so you have to buy 2. I was shocked to learn that although there is a species of chicken called Cornish game hens, most of the game hens you buy at the grocery store are just very young chickens. No particular breed, but hey, it's the right size to cook a meal for one person. And it tastes like chicken. We're all good. And then when I'm done eating, I can use the carcass to make chicken stock for the next time I want a pot of soup. Oh, and I got a couple marrow bones and some stewing beef because they're cheap and because you really want marrow in your broth. It's a whole world of flavor that you don't get without it. Oh, Freeman has questions about Phil. Well, I'm keeping afloat in 2 ways. One, of course, is support from donate to me. The other is I'm selling all kinds of stuff, not not just things related to Phil, but just all kinds of stuff that's, to me at this stage in my life, it's just clutter. And if I can get a few bucks for it at the local consignment shop or in a summer yard sale, I'm good with that. My house is tiny and I have too much stuff. And I'm going to have to go through my paintings. There, I went to paint and sip parts, but instead of wine, I had coffee. I rarely drink. Anyway, um, so they're not exactly original. They give you an example, or you can choose among 3 examples, and you get instructions on how to do it and what color paint to use. They're all acrylic, and I really prefer oil paints, but I'm going to do some touch up on them and see about selling my paintings. And Freeman, I have not mailed your book yet and your memory card, but I will. Sounds like you're busy this week anyway. The next time I get a ride to the post office, I'll mail them. Ah, Freeman is putting together uh well the the Philip K. Dick conference in Colorado is going to try to get me on Zoom. I really cannot travel. Even the last time, I think that was 2019, just sitting on the GD airplane seat was killing me. And it's like between boarding and then finally letting you off, it's 2 hours in a seat that was designed to torture people. Your back doesn't curve into the chair. The chair is supposed to curve into your back. They have them all backwards. They push your head forward, and your back cannot sink into the seat back. And I spend most of the time with my head on my lap because I'm in pain. And the last time, some jerk in the seat beside me kept scooting into my side of the armrest and pushing me. So I'd be almost asleep and he'd push me and I'd wake up like. I finally told him I was going to call the steward if he didn't knock it off. I finally figured out what they're called now. Flight attendants. You don't have a steward and stewardess, you have flight attendants. I was ready to kill something. Well, yeah, but Freeman, you might not have time to get your package, open it, check out your memory card and the book I'm sending you. I'm at the point where I can sign the contract with Quoir, Quoir, for them to publish a special edition of The Darkening of the Light. A lot of haggling, but it'll be worth it in the end. So anyway, it's going to be wonderful. Lars, it might be summer where you are. It's summer in Australia and Argentina. It ain't summer here. It's, let's see, about a month more of winter. I think the solstice this year is March 19. It's usually March 21, at least officially. The spring, did I say solstice? It's the spring equinox. Whatever. I think the summer solstice is in June. And then we have the fall equinox in September and the winter solstice in December. Lord. I'm almost at 2 hours. I hope YouTube doesn't decide I was bad. I mentioned the Orange Man earlier. And stuff like that. I understand that truckers are boycotting New York City. Not all of them, but quite a few. I just hope they don't boycott California. Although I would not mind if they boycotted Sacramento. Oh, I got itchies and tickles all over again. Oh, Lord. I'm going to have to go out and deal with more trash that the critters scattered all over the universe. and arranged to have it hauled away. And maybe the cats can go OUT if it gets a little warmer. Just a little warmer. It's supposed to get up to 50 today, maybe 53, which is still chilly, but not too bad if you're out and about and walking around. But first, I want some food. I have to decide whether to cook the pork rib or the game hen today. And of course, I'll cook some bacon. Bacon goes with everything, even chocolate. But what I love is to take a bite of bacon and follow it with a swig of warm coffee. Oh, yeah. See, the food banks give us tons of rice, pasta, dried beans, and a few canned foods. But the food stamps get me real food, like fresh produce. I got some peaches and tomatoes, potatoes, and an onion, and an avocado. And so the scuttlebutt I'm hearing from around here is, oh, Trump told truckers to boycott New York. Well, I don't think he had to tell them anything. Truckers are an independent lot. They make up their own minds. Yeah, one of them was saying to make deliveries, he had to do New York City and Long Island, and his tolls, just the tolls for the toll roads, came to almost $300. And the traffic was awful, and there were places where he really needed to turn around, but he couldn't. There wasn't enough room. So he had to very carefully back up his semi rig, really watch the trailer, all kinds of things. And now there's a lot of crime. You don't want to leave your truck for more than a minute. Someone will break in and take all your stuff or even steal the truck. Yeah, that's right, Freeman. They take two trucks and butt them up together back to back so no one can get into the trailers. Well, apparently, it isn't all the truckers boycotting New York City, but some of the manufacturers that make the products are refusing to sell to New York City. And a lot of businesses are fleeing. Remington, the makers of the famous Remington rifle, they're leaving. Beretta already left, and some other gun manufacturer already left. I don't know tons about guns. I know what I hear on the news. And investors are, and people who build things like factories are going to other states. They won't build anything in the state of New York. And this started before the Trump trial. Freeman says when you cross the George Washington Bridge, your truck will automatically receive a citation for 7 violations. That's weird. Well, New York is broke. New York State is broke and New York City is super broke. They need the money, so they take it from hardworking people. And as they say, you can't fight City Hall. New York is crazy. People who live there, most of them don't even have cars because there's no place to park. And now it'll get broken into. You lose all your stuff and you'll have a broken window besides. If you steal the truck, there's no place to hide it because all the businesses are closed. Last night, around midnight, some fools stole a semi rig with the trailer in Los Angeles, and the highway patrol chased him all the way to San Bernardino. At some point, they used spike strips, which took out the front tires of the cab, but he kept driving on the rims for miles and miles until the truck caught fire from all the sparks, and he tore up the pavement on the freeway because he was driving on the metal rims. When the truck caught fire, he finally pulled over, jumped out, and ran away, got caught. I don't know what he thought he was going to do. I mean, he drove something like 70 miles with the highway patrol following. Did he really think he was going to get away? And the poor trucker lost his rig. But apparently they saved the trailer and whatever was in it. He had like the news guy in the helicopter thought it was 2 trailers, but I think it was just one of those rigs that actually have a bit of something like a trailer behind the cab in case they want to add a sleep chamber. Some rigs have a little bed behind the cab. I think that was actually part of the truck itself. Yeah, New York City slumlording is a real problem. I have a friend who used to live in a rent controlled loft in Soho. And like artists live in that section of New York City. And, the rent was great, but she couldn't get the landlord to fix anything. Yeah. I wonder where New York City's finest is. He popped in to chat a couple weeks ago, but he said he was feeling ill. Hope he's okay. And now, was it New York or Chicago or Detroit? I think it was Chicago. Might be New York. They're giving prepaid debit cards to migrants. As much as $1,000 a month for a family of 4 or more. For people who have free housing, free clothing, free health care. It sounds like a lot of money if they're just supposed to buy food and diapers with it. And the citizens are up in arms because they have so many people in need who have been in need for at least a decade, and they aren't getting any help. Mm. And by the way, most of these citizens happen to be black. I'd like to know what the Democrats have ever done for black people. They formed the Ku Klux Klan. They passed the Jim Crow laws. They fought against civil rights. And the usual sources will not tell you that the first Civil Rights Act was passed under President Eisenhower, a Republican, very popular one too. And the Civil Rights Act of, about 10 years later, maybe not quite 10 years. Smokey, knock it off. Or we'll eat your lunch. Okay, 64 was passed by a Republican controlled Congress, and LBJ, the Democrat president, signed it because not to sign it would have been political suicide. Yeah, the artists have been moving at least to the mainland to live in New York State. They've been leaving New York City for a couple decades. It isn't just the migrant crisis. The soft on crime policies and the outrageous taxes and it have just made life in New York City really dangerous. Freeman says it was New York City that's giving the migrants a debit card. Where are they going to get the money? Is that why they need $400 million from the Orange Man? Potato chip. I need the salt. Water's empty. I'll be right back. Assuming I can hobble fast and far enough. Well, Patches, you haven't eaten your treats. You don't get more till you eat what you got. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a good kitty cat? My cats are all bad and they're big and they're fat. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a good kitty cat? Oh, and yesterday and today, I'm indulging in soda pop. I almost never drink something with bubbles, but orange soda sounded so good. And there it was staring at me in the grocery store. How do Democrats get out of trouble? They blame the Republicans. How do Republicans get out of trouble? They don't. They don't care. I'm not a Republican either. Mm-mm. But at this point in time, Maybe it's their turn. That's the thing about political parties. They aren't looking at who's popular. They aren't looking at who has good policies. It's like, whose turn is it now? So we got George Bush, Bill Clinton, another George Bush, Obama, Trump, the wild card, and then Biden. And I was trying to tell this Trump fanatic MAGA guy, Trump caused chaos. And he flipped out. Oh, no, he did. Interrupted me in mid-sentence. Yes, he did. We needed chaos. We needed to shake up the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. But I didn't get to say that because he flipped out. Assuming that chaos is bad. This isn't Get Smart, where control is the good guys and chaos is the bad guys. Real life is not that simple. And sometimes the only choice we have is between evil and a lesser evil. Or in some glorious circumstances, good and even better. Smokey's such a cute kitty. I wish he'd behave better. She's the one who moved in without asking. She says, hey, you need a cat. Here I am. Where's the food? Yeah, she's a gangster kitty. Be nice, Smokey. Libertarians? Oh, Freeman says, how do libertarians get out of trouble? They blame both Republicans and Demoblicans. Oh, demon rats. I call them Demoblicans. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Cats are like Roger Rabbit's wife. They aren't really bad, they're just drawn that way. Who remembers Roger Rabbit? Mm. Yep. Takes me 2 days minimum to drink a soda. It is 20 fluid ounces. When I was a kid, a soda pop was either 8 ounces or 10 ounces. Now they're double. No wonder I can drink the whole thing. Witta says Roger Rabbit is a cult classic. I love that movie. You know, I'm not really thrilled about Trump. I have some concerns. But, you know, we've tried the alternative. Freeman wants us to vote Cthulhu. Why vote for a lesser evil? Good old Lovecraft and the Cthulhu. The chthonic gods, ancient gods. from the darkest depths of the earth and the sea. Well, there's all kinds of critters and even humans going around claiming to be gods, trying to be gods. But there's only one God who made this earth and made us. They're all pretenders to the throne and win. And why is there suffering in this world? Because we cause it. Yeah, God could stop it, but then we wouldn't have freedom. We wouldn't have liberty. We wouldn't even be human anymore. We would be automatons, robots, computers. Ew. No wonder all these weirdos, rich weirdos, want to shed their bodies and live as computers or robots. I think that's sick. It's one thing that to have an injury corrected with, say, an artificial arm or leg. It's quite another to deliberately give up a perfectly good body to become a machine. Well, anyway, even my cat can make choices. Right, Tora? Even Smokey. Smokey's a sweetie pie right at the moment. She's actually clawing the scratching post and not my chair. New Thought? I haven't heard of New Thought. It sounds a lot like Newspeak. George Orwell was right. He just had the date wrong. In some ways, I think instead of 1984, he should have said 1964. In 63, somebody shot President Kennedy, killed him. In 65, there were riots all over various cities. Bobby Kennedy was so brave. I'm not sure exactly which year it was or what the trigger was. I've forgotten. But he went to the inner city, and I'm pretty sure it was Chicago, and just literally stood on an orange crate and talked to the crowd. Oh, it was when Martin Luther King Jr. was shot. I'm still not sure what year that was. Might have been 67 or 8. Anyway, no bodyguards, no nothing. No Secret Service. He just spoke to the crowd and calmed them down. He said, I know how you feel. My brother was shot dead. And gave an impromptu speech that calmed down the crowd and prevented a riot. Everywhere else across the nation, there were riots. But not where Bobby Kennedy bravely made his speech. So, of course, they had to shoot him in 68. They couldn't let another Kennedy become president. There's all kinds of questions about who really shot Bobby Kennedy and so forth. Oh, and Martin Luther King's family do not believe that the guy who was convicted, Sirhan, they don't believe he did it. They believe he's innocent. Is definitely a victim of some kind of mind control. So even if he did it, he was simply a tool in someone else's hands. Well, a computer program might be able to convince you that it's a human, but I don't think it has any true self-awareness. I did just yesterday read one of Phil's stories. I don't think it was published at the time, but you can read it for free now. The day the computer fell off its tree or something like that, fell out of its tree, the computer that runs the world has gone insane. And it's all because this character, who's obviously Phil, has gone insane. And he's caused the computer to go insane. Thank you, Freeman. MLK was shot in 1968. So that's the same year that Bobby Kennedy was running for president, and they shot him too. He had just won the nomination by taking the win in California. Bobby Kennedy was shot in 1968. It must be. Yeah. Freeman says that Bobby was paying for his father's crimes. Well, his father was definitely involved with the mafia, but the Irish mafia, by the way. You don't hear much about that. You only hear about the Italians. I wouldn't want to live as a machine. Yeah, Witta says it's like replacing your hand with a fancy Swiss Army knife. A bit of a downgrade. For all the aches and pains and ills that we experience, it just would not be the same if we were robots. And by the way, my robot story is out in an anthology from I can't remember anything. I think it's the one from Choir. I'm not sure. So Freeman says something begs the question: how do we prove that we're actually real? Freeman, I found the link to the Phil's story somewhere on Facebook. I don't remember, but if you do a Google search, Just put in Phil Dick computer fell out of tree, and here it is, Biblioclept. It's also on WordPress, and Goodreads has a review. Let me just click through and make sure it actually loads the story. So I'll put the link in the chat for you. There, here you go. Well, he had to have written it in 1977 or later. That's when he met the real-life Joan Simpson, who is a character in the story. We aren't real. This is a matrix. By all rights, we should be able to, and walls are empty space than anything else, programmed to make us bounce off the walls, literally and figuratively. Well, I've had dreams where mostly boring, everyday experiences. Tora's sleeping on the modem. The modem gets warm, but I think she blocks the signal when she does that. Silly kitty cat. Okay. I don't want a digital assistant inside my head. My novel, The Darkening of the Light, is about chips implanted into your brain, but it's also about the Earth being invaded by alien slugs from a spaceship. Yeah, if I had a chip implanted, it might give me the words and names that I'm always forgetting. But, oh, and it would let me Google things quicker. No, thank you. They have actually experimentally implanted chips in some people's brains. It's for people with some kind of brain damage. I don't remember the details. I didn't really look into it deeply. But I kind of find it kind of icky to think that my computer could be inside my skull. Well, the Matrix has ensured that we are not able to build a TARDIS. It obscures the reality from us. Meanwhile, as Phil said, paraphrasing Zoroastrianism, the good God and the bad God are battling each other, and we're kind of the battlefield and the prize. And Ahriman cannot win, but Ahura Mazda is sure taking his time in defeating the bad guy. Oh, there's a 2018 movie called Upgrade. I haven't done much reading at all lately, Freeman. Not even the GURPS you sent me. the digital books. But last night I did play on YouTube an old lecture by, oh, come on, I had his name a minute ago. The guy who talks about, Rupert Sheldrake. I got his name back in my head. I didn't have to Google. About morphogenesis, the origin of forms. Yeah, I did hear they're making another Blade Runner. But the farther out they go, the farther away from Phil's vision they get. Phil's idea was about what makes us human. And are we really more human than an android who was grown in a laboratory? And the Blade Runner films are more about special effects, fights, brawls, riots, demonstrations, car chases, shooting wars. And in the second Blade Runner film, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. It's illegal for the replicants to be on the Earth, so how come there's replicants everywhere? Weta doesn't have Facebook. Well, I gave you the link to Phil's story. I have to have Facebook. It's how I connect with other people like the PKD festival organizer and collectors who will buy my stuff so I can pay my bills. I like to talk to, and even publishers who want my stories. I think it's Choir that put my robot story in the anthology. And the editor would be Keith Giles. I just haven't had any sleep. And I need food. I need my bacon. Well, yeah, the first Blade Runner at least did not have as many plot holes or lack of continuity. Yeah, I got apple smoked bacon from the butcher counter at the grocery store. Weta wants me to send her email address to L. Freeman. Okay. If L. Freeman. Weta is what I think about, by the way. Don likes to put Blade Runner on a rainy night, double rain atmosphere. Well, you could do it, Wita, but then everybody in chat would have your email address. probably not a good idea. Yeah, and at the end of the second Blade Runner, there's all these replicants hiding in the storm drain, and they have children. They're not supposed to be able to get pregnant. But they think the fact they can get pregnant makes them fully human. And that it's a threat to the powers that be. Well, good for the replicants. In Phil's novel, he calls them androids. They're much more human than the man who hunts them down and kills them. Well, if you take Blade Runner as an allegory, the replicants are us, and the people who hunt them are the powers that be. Oh, the corny ending of Blade Runner 2049. Go visit your daughter. Yeah, right. I have bacon. Get it locally. See, although the grocery store is a chain, it is not a major retailer. It's basically local. And they source everything they can locally. And we have some awesome farms in this area. One farm in particular that's about halfway up the mountain sometimes puts a little stand on the side of the highway where you can stop and buy locally made honey and several kinds of produce. Well, we tried once, my brother, my sister-in-law, and I tried to drive down to the actual farm because it said it was open, but the road is dirt and rutted and with slopes and curves. You go up and down and around. We didn't think our Toyota could make it, so we gave up and turned around and left. And on various festival days, like jam days, used to be, well, still is really, Jamboree days, the closest weekend to the 4th of July, either before or after. All kinds of vendors are up here, and one of them is the local beekeeper. So I can just stroll out to the main road. Well, I have trouble walking that far. In fact, last July, I just stood on the corner, the nearest corner, and watched the parade go by. Never went to any of the stands that were selling stuff. I think I might be able to do it this July. Walk a whole block to get to the party, the vendors. Usually lots of good food. Anyway, there'll be the beekeeper. There'll be a church that raises funds by selling cherries. I'm not into cherries, but I used to get them when I was making jam. I honestly cannot stand at the stove long enough to stir up of jam and get it into the jars and everything. I did that once this year right before Christmas. I took apples and made apple butter for gifts, Christmas gifts. But, I was making 3 or 4 batches every week, and no way I could do that now. It's hard to get honey anywhere. You have to really watch it too. Much of the honey in the stores is mixed with corn syrup. Well, our bees had a die off a few years back, I think 5 years ago, but they're coming back. Apparently, it was some kind of pesticide problem. Hi, Oswald. You're late. Well, if you really want to hear my nattering and chattering, the show will be on replay, unless the powers that be think I shouldn't mention the Orange Man. I didn't really say anything good about him, but I guess I didn't say anything bad enough. I'm tired of elections where we have to choose between Cinderella's stepsisters. But I think we need a little more chaos and a little more change. Oswald says the golden golem of greatness. Yeah, he's a narcissist. But hey, he can afford to be a narcissist. He's one of the wealthiest men in the world. And the only president in the U.S. never having any connection to slavery. If I remember correctly, his father immigrated, and I'm not sure which country, somewhere in Eastern Europe, which would explain why Trump marries what am I saying? Eastern European women. His mom's family was Scottish, huh? Okay. The Scottish didn't have slaves, they were slaves along with the Irish. And what was I doing? Oh, back in the 70s, 60s. Let me think. Yeah, 60s. The era of Laugh-In and Get Smart and really good TV shows. Pat Paulson was not actually running for president, it was his comedy routine. It was hilarious. Oswald, the Scots aren't necessarily Protestant the way you think of Protestant, they're Presbyterians. Me, I'm a Baptist, even though I have a good portion of Scottish blood. Scots, Irish, and Welsh. And the DNA people can't make up their minds about whether I'm part Dutch or part Danish. But the Danish makes more sense because the Fosters on mom's side were the people who came over from France with William the Conqueror. And those people were not French, they were Vikings, they were Danish. However, let's see, Dad was 1/4 Dutch. That would make me 1/8, but I don't seem to have Dutch DNA. Although they used to say I had Dutch DNA, and now they say no, it's really Danish. And the way I see it, those two tiny countries are side by side. I could be either or both. Ritz cracker coming up. I need more salt. Mmm. Mmm. I used to love saltine crackers till I discovered, and they're 10 times better. I have another swag code for 2 swag bucks. A swag buck is like hundredths of a penny or something. Maybe, yeah, something like that. Okay, and I got the code, and I got the little box, and I paste it in and redeem it. Got my 2 swag bucks, and now I can get another swag buck by answering the daily poll. It's National Margarita Day. Which margarita variation do you prefer? Oh, I've never had a margarita because I despise tequila. So I'll pick, I don't drink margaritas. But it is my goal someday to try a margarita pizza. I just don't eat pizza very often. Freeman wants to know who remembers that Bob Newhart movie in which he's the world's most unpopular president, and someone throws a tomato at him and it knocks the head off, proving it to be a mannequin. That sounds like something Bob Newhart would be in. I love his comedy routines, like the bus driver training, learning how to force an old lady to the back of the bus while all her groceries fall out on the floor. Accelerator, brake, accelerator, brake. And back before Bill Cosby was persona non grata, he had a routine about the dentist. That didn't hurt. Yeah, right. Oh, and Oswald says Trump was first confirmed at a Presbyterian congregation. Yeah, they don't go to church, they go to meeting. And they don't have a preacher lecturing them in most cases. I suppose they do from time to time, but the point is to congregate with the congregation. And they often just sit there silently. That would drive me nuts. Hi, Juanita. Thanks for the love from Ohio. Freeman says Denmark is a really nice country, by the way. Don likes saltine crackers and cheddar cheese cubes. Good snack. Even better with Ritz crackers. I used to like the, forgot what they're called. The skinny crackers. They're like 2 or 3 inches long and 1 inch wide. But they don't make them right anymore. They aren't flaky and like that. They're like hardtack now. Tequila and Mountain Dew, Dawn says, is a poor man's margarita. Don't forget the salt. You need the salt or your head will explode. Hi, Angela. North Carolina. That sounds like a nice place. Something happened there recently, but I forgot what. Was it a primary election or something? Oh, yeah. A lot of the comedians in the 50s and 60s would put out record albums because their jokes were dirty, so they could not get on television or radio. And in fact, Lenny Bruce was arrested on stage for using bad words. And of course, what's his name with the 7 deadly words? Oh, come on, he's famous. Why haven't I got his name? The philosopher comedian. He got arrested too for his routine about the 7 deadly words. Oh, I don't know if Phil ever predicted weather manipulation, but my parents said that it was already happening in the 1960s. All right, who's that comedian? Come on, Google, help me out. George Carlin. His routine was actually called 7 words you can never say on television. George Carlin is hilarious. Did South Carolina have a Super Tuesday? Something happened in North Carolina. I saw a news headline about it. Thank you, Juanita. George Carlin. North Carolina news. There was a shooting. But was that recent or is just Google just scamming me? Fox 8 in North Carolina. So it's North Carolina is the Tar Heels. I always get them confused. Let's see. North Carolina has the great, get off me, evil at once, cookies. Something happened at a brewery. Oh, Raleigh is a potential expansion city for Major League Baseball. Well, I'm not seeing it, so maybe I'm confused. But some guy was sentenced to a huge, long prison sentence for child porn. That might have been the story that I saw. Oswald says it's called the American Dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. Juanita saw, I guess, George Carlin in concert. Loved his humor. Had a signed poster. Witta says Kathleen Madigan is a hilarious comic. You see, we call them comic now because it's sexist to have comedian and comedian. I hate the way they're changing our language. As far as I'm concerned, you can identify whatever whatever you choose, but you cannot change the way God made you. Not without a severe price. If you want to be gay, trans, I don't know what all these alphabet letters stand for, fine. Go for it. But reality is reality. I remember making plans to go see Charlie McCarthy, who's a puppeteer. Darn it, the puppet was Charlie McCarthy, Edgar Bergen, and Charlie McCarthy in Las Vegas. And before I could arrange to get the tickets, Edgar Bergen died. I think I jinxed him. On the other hand, I saw Neil Diamond in concert and he didn't die. My best friend in high school insisted we had to go see Neil Diamond. He was just up and coming on the radio. Sweet Caroline and Brooklyn Roads. And I didn't really care for a lot of his music. But it kind of grew on me because other teenage girls kept playing the radio and they'd turn the volume way up when Neil Diamond came on. Anyway, it's the only concert I've ever. Let's see. I must have been 14 or no, I was older than that. I must have been 16 because I had $10 to buy the ticket. It was either 5 or 10. I think it was $10 for two. Anyway, this was, 1960s. Money was still worth a little bit then, although not as much as it used to be worth. Don says some people smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. He goes through 2 lighters a day. Oh, that's by Phil Hicks. Oswald says Phil Hicks is still alive. He just became Alex Jones. You know what's weird? In many cases, not all, but in many cases, they've had to admit that Alex Jones was right. But I quit listening to him. I thought he was really mean, using other people's tragedies for his own ratings. I have no. Oh, that I remember people saying Bill Hicks and Alex Jones looked alike. Well, it happens. I've been mistaken for someone else by people who refused to believe that I was not that person. I wonder if I still have my lamb chop hand puppet. Remember Shirley, not Temple, Shirley something, and her little sidekick, lamb chop, a hand puppet. I had a replica of lamb chop. I don't know what Phil would have approved of with regard to Alex Jones. Probably would have been okay with it. He faced the radio broadcaster in which novel? Was it Scanner Darkly? He faced him on a real person. I'm trying to remember who that was. It was definitely not Alex Jones. Someone on late night radio. Yeah, the problem with Mexican issued Marlboros, oh, Freeman, is that they contain chicken poop. No wonder they're under $2 a pack. Yeah, Marlboros are pretty disgusting. Thank you, Witta. Sherry Lewis. Oh my God, the Red Chinese allow smoking? 777 cigarettes? I gotta turn off the heater fan. It doesn't know that I'm warm. Hi there, Patches. Are you a pretty kitty? Yes, she's a little cat. Okay, I think I can let some cats play OUT side today. Oh, Freeman can do Senior Wences. That's where he painted lips on his hand and he'd go like this to make the guy talk. Parquet, yeah. Wow. I should have gotten more sleep last night, but I didn't. I wonder why. I was actually having a halfway decent dream when the alarm on my phone went off at 7 a.m. because I do a show on Thursday mornings. 3 hours. Are you guys sure you really like hearing me natter and chatter for 3 hours? Criminy. Yeah. The good old days were not all that good, by the way. I mean, a soda pop was 10 cents, and if you took the bottle back, they gave you 2 cents back, so it came to 8 cents. But I never had 10 cents. On Saturdays, when the Helms bakery truck came around, sort of like an ice cream truck, but with bread and donuts, my grandfather would come by and give me a nickel so I could buy a donut. 5 cents for a donut. And they were awesome. This was Culver City, where the Helms Bakery was like an institution. They're gone now. First, their trucks went, and then the company went. What's the temperature, Dawn? It's trying to get up to 50 degrees. It was 30 overnight. And if the wind doesn't kick up, I'll be able to do some cleaning up outside, pick up trash and stuff. Well, I have to clean up the yard so the insurance broker can take photos and see what other insurance companies will offer me. And my trash was scattered all over by hungry critters who just don't understand that you can't find anything edible in my trash. My cats will actually come in from outside to use the litter box, Oswald. I bag up the used cat litter and add it to my trash, my kitchen trash, to discourage critters. It kind of works, sort of. I wish that the 3 kittens had not gotten so used to being in the house at night. But they did. As I have to do litter box duty twice a day. And I have to buy cat litter because in the summer I can actually use dirt from the garden, but right now the dirt is soaking wet. It's mud. No wonder they come in to use the litter box, but they do that all summer too. I have strategically placed used cat litter in the places outside that I want them to use, but I don't think they got the hint. Cats. Did I ever see the series Carnivale? No. I haven't seen a lot of TV since, the 70s, and I've seen even fewer movies. Let's see, I saw Sleeping Beauty in the car with my family at the drive-in theater. I saw The Jungle Book at the Maralta Theater. I saw The Odd Couple and Gone with the Wind. That's 4. I saw 2001. That's 5. I saw The Hobbit Part 1. I saw the Star Trek movies through The Unknown Country. Didn't see the movies after that one. I watched The Fugitive 12 times. in the theater, cheap matinees. I was living in my car. I wanted to sit inside for a while. But 13 is unlucky, so after seeing it 12 times, I bought the video. I was working 2 jobs and sleeping in my car or the office at work, and getting a motel room once a week, every Saturday, a real bed and a sit-down bath. My son had made a baby he could not afford, and the estate, his father's estate, was not really making much money. Anyway, that was like 2 years. But if you've got to live in a car, the Honda Accord is great because the driver's seat reclines all the way back so it's flat. You're almost in a bed. Yeah, Dawn, 50 is nice in the winter, but in the spring it feels freezing cold. That's true. Anyway, let's see what else have. I saw part 1 of The Hobbit, didn't bother with part 2. Most of the movies I've seen were on video. Rarely get into a theater, but my brother took me to Blade Runner and Star Wars, my brother and his wife, and The Hobbit. Trying to remember whether I saw Total Recall in the theater. I don't think I did. I think I waited for the video. I have not seen Solaris, but I've been told that it either is or ought to be X-rated. Oh, I was a fan of Tommy Lee Jones as an actor. Apparently, as a person, he isn't all that great, from what I hear. And of course, oh, come on, brain. Indiana Jones actor, what's his name, plays Dr. Kimball. I blank on his name all the time. He was also, wasn't he the Blade Runner guy? Yeah. Jeez. Come on. Brain. Indiana Jones actor. Harrison Ford. And anything with Sean Connery is golden. But I really couldn't get through the 007 movies. I thought they were boring. It's a guy thing. They're not, those movies are not made for women. Yeah. Phil called Solaris smut. I never read it. Oh, Don said in high school he used to go to the movies like every weekend. Even if we didn't see a movie, we'd just hang out in the parking lot and at Wendy's. Oh, and then this doesn't really count, But about half a dozen times with a good friend, we'd go to the Gem Theater in Santa Ana for a Saturday matinee for 25 cents, and they still had penny candy. But what they showed were the old Disney features that were still running on television. It wasn't the movie, it was the experience, of being in the theater and having a big screen and all. Oh, Oswald would rather listen to Solaris Blue Raven than rewatch Solaris. Oh, Don Burnham, the one-armed man. He says Solaris was not bad, but overrated. Well, yeah, because Stanislaw Lem was Polish, and Poland left the Soviet Union or the Warsaw Pact or whatever it was. And Warsaw is the capital of Poland, but they left the Warsaw Pact. Hilarious to my mind. Hi. Yeah, I am going to have to scoot and make breakfast. It's almost noon. It's 11:26. What am I doing? 3 hours and 20 minutes. Oswald S. Lem was a good author. I'm not sure that Phil actually read Solaris. He would read book reviews and get other people to tell him about the book after they read it. And pretend that he had read it. He was quite aware that he had limited time, and he somehow knew that he was going to die young. And Don says, Sean Connery is an amazing actor. Check out the movie Finding Forrester. Great Sean Connery movie. Okay, after I sign off, I'll look for it online. I really have to go. I'm tired and hungry. Bad combination. Reminds me, Phil used to insist on bacon and eggs for breakfast, and he wanted breakfast before I was even awake. So one morning I was so tired when I went to flip things with the spatula, I burned my hand in the bacon grease, and I couldn't do the dishes for a whole week. He didn't really mind the not cooking, but he hated doing dishes. So he started eating Rice Krispies for breakfast. True story. When he was hyper, he didn't sleep much. When he was writing, he didn't sleep much. He wanted breakfast on the table at 7, and I was used to sleeping till 8 or 9. We both adjusted our schedules, but his schedule was somewhat erratic. When he was depressed, he rarely got out of bed. But he wasn't just depressed, he really was ill sometimes. He called it the flu, but it was digestive, and I think it was his pancreas. He had suffered pancreatitis once, almost died in the hospital, and he was not a drinker. Some stupid doctor wrote him down as alcoholic. He rarely drank. He'd have a bottle of wine for so long that it went bad and it was still half full. uh, he did switch to beer when he had gout in his jaw and the doctor told him not to drink wine, but he went back to wine. Yeah, I'll go eat and sleep and whatever and let the cats play. But man, I'll watch Sean Connery in almost anything. It's just the 007 movies don't really appeal to women. They aren't meant to, and that's okay. They're good movies anyway. Just not my taste. Yeah, that's what I said. Gout in the jaw, ouch. But he managed it through diet. For a short time, he took medication for the gout. I think 1 month was all, maybe 2. Oh, I love Rice Krispies, especially since I just heard that there's this new pesticide, relatively new pesticide that they use on fields of oats, barley, and wheat that could be harmful, but the FDA is allowing it in this country. It depends on, um, how much of it you ingest. They increased the limit. But it's mostly on things like oatmeal. And it's too late to give up oatmeal now. It's been on the market for a couple years. But I do love a bowl of oatmeal. Fortunately, regular Cheerios are okay. It's the honey nut Cheerios that are likely to have this chemical. I can live with that. And aside from Ritz crackers, I don't eat a lot of food. I'm not to the point of having a lettuce wrap instead of a sandwich when I eat out, but I usually have something like a stew or a rice with goodies in it, or just have the bacon. Just cook a bunch of bacon and sit there and eat it. I might have an egg this morning if the eggs are still good. You get a glass of water and drop the egg, and if it falls to the bottom, it's good. If it floats, it's bad. And if it kind of floats and settles back down, it's a wobbler. You can boil it, take off the shell, cut it in half, and smell it to see if it smells like sulfur, it's bad. If it smells okay, you're good. But I would not fry a wobbler or cook it in any other way. Do I like muesli? I tried it once in the 70s. I was not impressed. I was for a while really into the Trader Joe's granola with the banana chips. But muesli to me tastes like dirt and rocks. It really does. I would have to add a ton of sugar to make it palatable, and then what's the point? Oh, and a dash of salt. How do I drink my coffee? I'll drink it black, sometimes with half a spoon of sugar and sometimes without sugar. I don't fear the sugar Nazis or the salt Nazis. But, it just depends on what flavor I'm in a mood for. Usually half a spoon of sugar. If it's really bad gas station coffee, I'll load it up with their non-dairy creamer to kind of cut the nastiness. Oh, Dawn puts in almond milk. No, if I'm at home and I want cream in it, I'll use cream or half and half, whichever one I have. Cow's milk in a pinch. Oh yeah, I like McDonald's coffee. It is strong, but I always have to ask them for an ice cube because it's so hot I can't possibly drink it. I have to wait an hour or at least half an hour, and that's only a slight exaggeration. Anyway, my coffee cup's empty, my tea is almost empty, and this is my second cup of water. Plus, my back is killing me. Even in Great Granny's rocking chair, I'm really beginning to feel it. So I will catch you guys another time. Let's see. Thank you all for listening to all my rambling, and have a great day. It's almost 3.5 hours, guys. So I will catch you later. Or as somebody famous used to say, I'll catch you on the flip-flop. I think it had to do with trucking. I'm not sure. Bye, guys. See ya. Oh, and Tora says meow and purr.